All right. 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 What is good? What is good? What is good? Ladies and gentlemen, of course, you know who it is. Yours truly, Dr. Mike, back again, once again, with another classic live stream for you guys today. Sincerely hope everybody is having a blessed day. Of course, every time that God comes through and spends time with his people, it is always a very blessed and a very good day. First and foremost, let's go ahead and get the formalities out of the way. Quick time check. We are looking at about, I'm sorry, looking at about 8 in the p.m. Eastern Standard, 9 a.m. Philippine time. That makes it about 7 p.m. Central. And of course, 5 p.m. for all of my people over there repping that West Coast. Appreciate all of you guys coming and spending some time with the good doctor today. And as people file in and grab a seat, go ahead and make sure you get that popcorn, make sure you get that drink, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show because the good doctor is going to put on a good one for you guys tonight. Now, normally I know I take my time with developing the topic, and I like to really like warm up a little bit, but I'm going to take a different approach to this one. I'm going to try to get my talking points out early so that I can get to the chat quicker, so that we can go ahead and interact with one another. So if you guys give me a moment to go ahead and get my thoughts out like I normally do, I promise not to take too much of your time, and we're most definitely going to rip this one off like a bandit, okay? So the way we're going to tackle this particular topic, first of all, let's go ahead and label the topic. Today's topic is entitled, "Is it a mistake to marry a Filipina?" I repeat, ladies and gentlemen, tonight's topic is it a mistake to marry a Filipina? Okay, I have a few talking points that I want to get out of the way first. We're going to talk about the reasons why people say yes, it is a mistake, and some of the reasons why people say no, it is not a mistake. Okay, I have a total of maybe about 5 particular talking points all together, so it's not going to take too long. But after I give give you guys a little bit of the serve up tonight, I'm going to go ahead and give you my personal opinion on whether I believe it is a good or a bad idea or a mistake to marry a Filipina. First things first, let's talk about some of the reasons why a lot of men will say, "Oh man, you should never marry a Filipina. It is a huge mistake for you to marry a Filipina." One of the main reasons that they say that is because they think that Filipinas will scam you. Okay? That's 9 times out of 10. They're like, Filipinos are scammers, blah, blah, blah. They're all of the above. They're just so bad, and they're just use you for whatever they can get from you. And after they use you, they'll leave you. That's one of the main reasons why somebody would say, yes, it is a mistake to marry a Filipina. And one of the main reasons that they will use you is not necessarily just for money, not all the time. They may use you by playing the long game, which we've talked about in previous chats, wherein they will try to use you in order to get to your home country or your place. And then once they get to your place, they will leave you, start making their own money, or find another person who has more money than you, and they go on about their business. So that is one reason why somebody would say, yes, it is a mistake to marry a Filipina. Okay. And number two, one of the reasons, the second reason I believe that people would say it is a mistake to marry a Filipina is because not only will you have to support the young lady, you will also be required to support the family. Now, we've talked about this before too. I mean, everything that I'm talking about now, we've already discussed in the past, but they're like, man, you're going to be forced to take care of the family. Every time the family has a problem, they're going to run to her, or she's going to run to you, and ultimately money's going to come out of your pockets every time the family needs something. So that is another reason why they would say that it would be a mistake to marry a Filipina. But I was having a conversation with a friend, quick side note, having a conversation with a friend, and he made one very, very valid point. Some people who say that it's a mistake to marry a Filipina, they don't really look at the numbers. What do I mean by that? When it comes to supporting the family and supporting the young lady, they don't really look at the numbers. But ultimately, supporting a Filipina in the Philippines is a whole lot cheaper than supporting a westernized woman in a Western world. Quick example. Let's say that you may trick out $1,000 a month for your girl and for her family or something like that, $1,000. That fails in comparison to you having to upgrade a girl's car, buy you a house here, all of the things and the material things that these lavish all of the expensive things and upgrading to a lavish lifestyle that people like to live in the United States fails in comparison to the amount of money that you will spend in the Philippines. You'll spend way cheaper in the Philippines dealing with Filipino women than dealing with westernized women in your home particular country. That was just a quick side note because I thought it was funny. Let's say you want to go from the Nissan to the Mercedes. This was the example he gave me. I'm telling you, that's going to be expensive. But for your girlfriend to level up in the Philippines, you'll never come to spend as much money in the Philippines as you would in the United States. Okay. And that was the last point I wanted to make. So the top 3 reasons that people would say it's a mistake to marry a Filipina: because they will scam you, because they only want to get to your home place and then leave you, and then you'll be required to support the family. Okay. Now, let's discuss some of the reasons why people believe that no, it is not a mistake to marry Filipina. I only have one major point that I want to make here, and there's probably plenty of them. But the main point that I want to make is that they will probably more than likely treat you better than the women from the Western world. Cook for you, clean for you, take care of you, and do the types of things that men need men to do for them. That is one of the main reasons why some people would say no, it would not be a mistake for you to marry a Filipina. Now, I'm sure there are plenty of talking points, and if you guys have anything else to add, by all means, please leave it in the chat below or leave it in the chat box, and we'll definitely make sure that we get to that. But I do not have any more talking points for the no's. There are probably more. Like I said, I'll let you guys talk about them. But I wanted to give my opinion real quick. And after I give my opinion, give my food for thought, I will allow you guys to say what's in your mind, and I'll make sure that I read them and address the chat. In my opinion, it doesn't really matter whether you say yes or no. But if you say yes or if you say no, I believe that it is a direct reflection of the relationship you have had with these women. And it doesn't matter if they are Filipina or not. Let me repeat. Whether you say yes or no, it is a direct reflection of the relationship that you have had with these women. Okay? If I need to dig a little deeper, just in case I have to, many guys will say yes, it is a mistake to marry them because maybe they have been in a situation where they were married and that shit happened to them. They got scammed or whatever it may be. If they say no, it's not a bad idea, it's a great idea, Filipino are wonderful women, because they've had great relationships with Filipinas. Okay. So naturally, you may get a lot of people that say yes, you may get a lot of people that say no. But ultimately, what I want you to understand what I want you to understand is that it is a direct reflection of the relationship that they have had with these particular women. And that's all I wanted to say. I'll open the floor. I appreciate you guys coming through and listening to the good doctor pop off and talk his shit. You know how I do. Just love having fun. I see we got 21 watching. Appreciate 21 of you guys coming through and showing some love to the good doctor today. Nayon Den, of course, all I would ever ask for you guys to do is go ahead and get the likes up for me. If you guys want your IPA shirts, they are listed in the link in the description there below. Of course, if you guys want to support the channel, you already know how you can do so. But of course, the good doctor is happy that you come through and show your support to him today, whether it's a little bit of time or a lot of your time. All right. So with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and run to the chat. Appreciate all through and showing some love. Let's go ahead and see what my people got to say about it tonight. See my man Terry Edwards in the building. What's going on, family? Actually, let me stop real quick before I get to the chat. All I want you to do in the chat box today is explain to me, give me a yes or a no answer if you think it is a mistake, and explain why. That's what we're looking for tonight. All right. Your answer is either going to be yes, it is a mistake. Your answer is going to be no, it is not a mistake. And please explain to me why. That is all I am looking for today. All right, so let's go ahead and get to it. Shout out to my boy Terry. I see you in the building. Appreciate you guys coming through. My man David, what's good with your family? Appreciate you being here. You asking me what a white women at? They're probably in San Diego, where you represent, my dude. Appreciate you coming through. My man Daniel's in the building. What's going on? Trent Knight, I see you, Playboy. Thank you for being here for the good doctor. Black Pablo, what it do, family? Appreciate you being here. My man Byron says, what's good in the woods? Everything is blessed over here, man. Too blessed to be stressed in this bitch, and you know how we do. My man with the poop emoji. I never understood the damn poop emoji, but everybody got it. My man Eyes On in the building. What's going on, family? Appreciate you coming through and showing some love. My man Daniel says, I'm glad I would never take a Filipina to the United States. Okay, so even if you do love dating Filipinas, you'd never take them to the United States. Okay, fair point. Glad that you said that, because I think a lot of guys will definitely be in favor of that particular statement. But again, guys, yes or no, and explain why. My man David says it is a huge mistake. You must marry a Filipina. It is a huge mistake. You marry a Filipina, you marry her entire family. Their problems automatically become your problems. Okay, so we got one yes in the building. See what everybody else got to say. Izon says the good Filipinas do not allow their man to be used by their family or anyone else they know. And that is very true. I do find that good Filipinas do not allow their men to be used by other individuals. I have definitely come across that. And I've made this point time and time again in the past. It's usually in passing. So maybe people have heard me say this, maybe they have not. But I have always said that I believe that a good Filipina would rather figure out her problems on her own and only use her, her boyfriend or her, whoever she's in a relationship with. He will always be the last choice. Understand this. A foreigner should always be the last choice for the last person you should come to. If Filipina is a good one, she will only come to you when she absolutely has no choice. She will not make you her first choice if ever situations come through. All right. What's going on, Ed? I see you in the building. He says, damn, I'm sold. I'm running away from the U.S. next week. Thanks for the advice. Well, I appreciate you coming through. Just make sure you're on your best behavior, Ed. We talked about that, but we're just talking shit. But I appreciate you coming through, and I hope that you do enjoy your time here. My man David says, word to the wise, get a prenup, watch your stags be, and by all means, do not bring her to the United States in capital letters. You guys are adamant about that shit. Okay. I see where the mindset is tonight, but it's all good. My man Daniel says, how should I deal with a Filipina when I'm mad? Yelling, telling her friends the problem, or pimp slap? Yelling doesn't work, bro. Don't yell at her. Don't tell her friends the problem. That doesn't help either. And a pimp slap, I would recommend that on all fronts, but that is also a bad idea. You might want to avoid that one as well. The best way to deal with the Filipina when you're mad is to get the fuck out. Walk away from her and allow her to become frustrated with you because you are not answering phone calls and all that good shit. My man John Baker, what's going on, man? Appreciate you coming through and showing love. He says, good man will have a happy wife. That is true. If you're a good man, your wife will definitely take care of you and treat you right. At least that's what I believe to be true. But again, question of the night, is it a mistake to marry a Filipina? Yes or no, and why? I've heard a lot of yeses, and I've definitely heard in repetitive motion that if you marry them, never bring them to the United States of America or your own home country. Anybody have any objections to it? I'm definitely all ears on this one, all right? But this is all I wanted to talk about today. So my man Andy's in the building. What's going on, Andy the Virgo? Appreciate you coming through and show some love to the good doctor today. He says, good morning and evening, everyone. God bless you all and happy to be here. We happy to see you here. My man Marquise the Great in the building. What's going on, family? Appreciate you coming through and showing some love to the good doc. My man MMA fan 3. What's good with you, man? I love MMA too, dude. Mixed martial arts is my favorite thing on television. UFC, can't get enough of it. Can't get enough of it. My man Steve in the building. Been a while, bro. Represent that West Coast. I see you, family. Appreciate you coming through and showing some love. The good doctor is definitely glad to see you here. That's Steve right there, my man Seller Steve. Been around since day one, and that's all I could ever ask for, man. He been a day one, so much love to my brother over there. John Baker says he's in Dumageddon now. That's what's up, man. I'm only a few stone throws away from you in good old Davao City. But I'm glad to see that you're enjoying your time in the Philippines, man. I just want you guys to come through and have fun. A lot of us should tell you not to come, but at the end of the day, most of these motherfuckers are gonna come anyways. My man Black Pablo says, I don't think it is a mistake. I feel more comfortable buying the family things they need instead of giving them money. I like that idea. I definitely like that approach. Instead of giving them monetary funds, just provide them the things that they need. That way you know that the money that you are spending is going towards a good cause. I like that 100%. So if you are going to come out of pocket, that would be the way to do it. Izon says, no, it's not a mistake if you take your time and find the right one. I see my man Rob 100. It's been in the family. Appreciate you coming through. He says, forgot one reason. Okay. He says, some Filipinas tend to lose sex appeal once they are married by gaining excessive amounts of weight, especially once they move to the United States. And you know what, bro? You do bring up a good point. If Filipinas take on the attitudes and the mannerisms and the appetites of American women, for the most part, lack of exercise and the whole nine, chances are they're going to put on some pounds. So yeah, that's really going to make them lose their sex appeal. Now, I hate to be the one to, throw shit on the situation, but yeah, I don't think I'd be comfortable allowing my girl to just blow up and look like a elephant. I mean, again, it's the inside that counts. That's what they tell me, right? But I don't think I'd be comfortable with that. And then again, if you think about it, you can only blame yourself. If you are in a situation and you allow your young lady to gain weight like that, you can only blame yourself. And the reason I say that is because you're allowing her to eat that way. You're allowing her to eat bad instead of cooking the good food that she's supposed to be cooking. And also you're allowing the situation to get out of hand because you brought her to the United States in the first place. You know how people are. All right, my man calls himself Go Me. Go you. It was good with you, man. Appreciate you coming through and showing some love, man, as always. I'm listening to my Korean pop right now. Y'all can't hear it because I got my headphones on, but I love this shit. My man Terry says never marry, only date. Okay, so I see you. So are you saying that you believe that marrying is a mistake? Yes or no? If you're telling me to never marry and only date, okay. Yes, David, we all know how San Diego is. I've been there one time and that's all I saw. It was snowing in San Diego, if you know what I mean. My man Ed says, yes, support the family if you can. You need their protection. Okay. Well, Ed, that is definitely a interesting perspective. You believe that by supporting the family, you'll definitely get the protection you need. So basically, you're the mafia boss, and you're paying off the family to make sure that they keep you protected. Okay, I like that. I like that thought process as well. It's definitely an interesting one. I'm sorry, that was a quick cough, man. My man Daniel says, I have met penalizing Chinese that changed into rude westernized garbage after just 2 weeks of being in the US. It can happen faster than you think. It really could. Again, guys, I'm not going to act as if this shit's not going to happen, okay? I'm not going to I'm not going to sit here and act like your girl ain't going to turn into a complete biatch if she moves to the United States. But what I will say is, I am a firm believer in the benefit of the doubt. Okay. And again, you can only say that based on the relationships that you have had. That's the point that I made earlier. You can only say that based on what you have seen from your own perspective and through your own experiences and things of that nature. If you've been in a relationship for an extended period of time, I would hope that your chances of shit like that not happening will be greater than somebody who's in a new, fresh relationship, like 6 months to a year old, and they're already talking about getting married and already talking about bringing her back home and shit like that. I would hope that, it wouldn't go that far. My man Steve says, not a mistake, Mike. They call it when you get in the United States normal. Okay. My man Marquis says, I don't think that it's a mistake. I don't have a close knit family, no kids, and 100%. I'm looking for a whole new life at the age of 38. So, are you looking to take care of like if your girl has kids, would you be okay with taking care of the kids and all of that stuff too? I mean, I know 38 is like that pivotal moment in people's life. They're like, yeah, that's when a man hits a certain, stage in his life and whatnot, like 30s and like late 30s and early 40s. Would you be okay with taking care of somebody else's kids, stuff like that? And as part of this, whole new life that you're trying to get into, I would definitely be interested in hearing what you guys say about that one. My man, John 19, what's going on, family? Appreciate you coming through. Smooth Rest, what it do, Playboy? I appreciate you coming through and showing some love to the good doctor. Daniel says, I wonder what would happen if I did pimp slap a Filipina. Don't do that. I'm telling you, it's not a good look, man. She has very, very big cheeks. It would be amazing to watch it in slow motion. Bro, you can't be talking like that on the live stream. People are going to think that you're like violent or some shit towards women. You know how people are. They're very, 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 very like sensitive and shit like that. So you might want to hold back on that one. You know how people are. My man Marquis says, I'm more afraid of child support system in the United States. I think child support and alimony and all that shit scares the hell out of the majority of the men in this chat. So you are not the only one, my friend. You are not the only one. Hold on, guys. I gotta click this button. Sorry. There we go. Got to make sure I keep a good track on the number of people coming in. God dang it. I see we got 28 coming in. These notifications keep popping up. I'm sorry, guys. Make sure I'm right. I see we got 28 individuals watching. Appreciate all 28 of you guys get through. My man Andy, what's good, family? Andy Orlano. Let me be more specific because we got 2 Andys in the chat. Now, I appreciate you coming through and showing some love. My man Terry says, only made her when you get old with erectile dysfunction, so it won't matter if she leaves. You stupid, man. MMA Fizz says, my boy at work who's 50 and retired just knocked one up, married her, and brought her to the U.S. Now the family wants to come over. Shaking my motherfucking head. I shake my head too. That's a bad look. And the thing is, he didn't know his chick that well if he just knocked her up. Now everybody in the family want to come through. As soon as she get her green card and she can sponsor other people to come over, oh, you gonna have a house full. Fuck that shit. Not on my watch, man. You crazy. Our culture is a cancer to the planet, Daniel, because we are, I don't even want to say that we are or we are the standard that people want to follow. I don't understand why we are, but it's just the way that it is. I wish that it wasn't, because following us is horrible. I mean, I will never say that I am not happy to be where I'm from. I just don't like taking that mentality overseas, and I don't like people who actually do that. My man Reggie Coleman, what's good, family? He says, I will say no, it's not a mistake if you take the time to date her for at least a year and find out and get to know her and her family and let her know that you're not going to be used. You are not going to be used, and then marry her. Okay, I appreciate that. I appreciate the comment. My man MMA fan says, eating all of this messed up food here will do that. Plus, most parts of the US are not walkable. So basically, you can't walk to get exercise, and then you eat a lot of fattening processed foods in the process, which will allow your lady to gain copious amounts of weight. Not a good look. I promise you that. My man Byron says, it's not a mistake at all. My Filipino wife is spot on. I wouldn't trade her for anything. You said my old lady can roll with me any day in any part of the world. Just have to get the right one. That's true. It is all about finding the right one. That's pretty much all it is. And I think a lot of us can attest to that one. A lot of us can attest to that. My man says, if you stay on your Filipina, she will stay 105 pounds the way you met her. My man is anal about the 105 pound. You know, your wife should be a part of the it should be a competition where she's required to be in weight classes and shit, and the weight class should be 105 pounds or below. That shit would be funny, but yeah, I feel you. If you do stay on her, she'll stay the weight in which you met her at. I will say that. He said, I would have my man Andy says, I would have my girl gain weight. Like, I would hate my girl to gain weight like that. Her mom looks chubby, scared to look at her like that by 32. That's the scary thing right there. Because a lot of people say that if you look at, you know, a Philip or any woman's mother, that's your girl in the future. And that shit right there will have some people shitting bricks. She look good now, but then all of a sudden, it doesn't matter if she comes to the U.S. or not, she's likely to have that particular body type. Shit has scared the hell out of any man. Telling you. Again, the question we are asking tonight, is it a mistake to marry a Filipina? Yay or nay, and why? That's what I'm looking for from you guys tonight. I see we done bumped up to about 31 individuals. Appreciate all of you guys coming through. My man Izon said snowing in Southern Cali. He said, no, actually, I was making a reference because my man always asking me where the white women at. My man David always asking me where the white women at. And I told him, you know, there's probably plenty of them in San Diego where he's from. And I was like, yeah, I said it's snowing out there, if you guys get my reference. My man Black Pablo says, if you have a Filipina who treats you like a man, the pros outweigh the cons. Just be wise and find the right one. I see a lot of us are on the same page with that particular topic. I don't think you guys are catching my reference. Do I have to spell it out for you? When I said snow, okay, let me rewind, because I think people are understanding or picking up what I'm putting down. Just in case I have to explain it, because it was funny to me. My man David is always asking me where the white women are at. And I said, there's probably plenty of them in San Diego. And he says, you damn right there is. And I said, yeah, it's probably snowing out there, aka snow bunnies. You guys aren't familiar with that slang term for beautiful white women, snow bunnies. That's why I said it's probably snowing out there. That was what I meant when I said snowing. I hate snow myself personally. I wasn't really literally talking about snow, guys, but I can tell that went over people's heads. I don't think nobody caught my reference, but I just had to explain it so that y'all guys caught on to that. My man Captain Spalding in the building. What's going on, family? Appreciate you coming through. My man says, enjoy the ride because nothing lasts forever. You know what? That is very true. Things are bound to change. All I can say is I hope that, relationship things that I am in adapt for the better and not for the worse. But for us to be able to stay in the same place that we are right now and expect us to be the same people that we are 5 years, 10 years into the future, hell, even a year in the future, 6 months in the future, you can never really put a timetable on that. But I do agree. You got to enjoy. I'm going to just enjoy my moments. I'll tell you that. My man Channel 19 says, if you're going to get married, keep her in her country. Only bring her to the U.S. to visit every now and again. Okay. My man Rob says, when I first started dating Filipinas, I considered marriage. The more I traveled and dated them, I learned that fantasy is only alive in the Philippines. Don't bring them to the United States. All right. I see everybody seems to be on a whole different reference now. All right, my man Julian Brown, what's going on, family? Appreciate you coming. Appreciate you coming through. My bad. Eyes on. Stop being thirsty for your girl, man. You killing me. You killing me. My man Daniel says, would you let your Filipina just visit the U.S. as a tourist in a very controlled setting? I wouldn't mind. See, the thing is, I'm really not against my girl coming here. I understand the reasons why many of you are, but I'm not really tripping over it, I should say. I think the way that most of y'all are talking it would put your average person in a panic, but I understand why you feel that. That's why I don't really take it all the way to heart. I take what you are saying into consideration because it is something that as a man you have to think about. If you're thinking about yourself in the long term, you definitely have to make sure you keep all of that into consideration. So I agree. Got to stay on top of your shit. You got to stay on top of your lady. Now, I think that's the only way it's going to work is if you're able to stay on top of things and keep things going the way it is. My man Julian says he's looking to date a Filipina, man. Welcome to the club, bro. Welcome to the club. Oh man, Ed, you better lay off of eyes on. That man love that girl. That boy be thirsty as hell for his girl, but it's all good. I ain't mad at him. Do you think? My man Doug Smith in the building. What's going on, family? Appreciate you coming through. Rob says my friend's Filipino wife was 5 feet and 100 pounds. When they met 3 years later, after they got married, she's still 5 foot but weighs 220 pounds. They don't even have kids yet. Oh, that's a bad look, bruh. That's a bad look. I agree. Bruh. I agree. That's a bad look. If your chick go to the US and gain 120 pounds in 3 years, do the math. That's 40 pounds a year, man. I hate math, and that don't sound good, bro. That don't sound good at all. But you know what's fucked up? You know what's really, really bad about that entire situation? Is it's so easy to gain weight in the US. It's ridiculous. It's so easy. It's ridiculously easy to gain weight. It's easy to get lazy here. It's easy to fall into that trap. That is the scary part. In the Philippines, you're always sweating, you're always hot, you're damn near dehydrated when you wake up in the morning. But here in the United States, everything is just, how can I say this? You don't really do a lot of anything, a lot of exercise, and it's always the hustle and bustle of work. Work, home, no, you work, you eat, you sleep. You don't really have time to really take care of yourself on that level. And unless you have really, really good eating habits, chances are your girl's gonna put on some pounds if you don't regulate that shit. If you do not regulate it, your girl is gonna put on the pounds. And there is nothing scarier than that, my G. Nothing scarier than that. My man Daniel says USA is great at marketing itself as a good place, but fails to give the results. But many people in other countries won't find out until it's too late. I feel you. My man Marquise says, I only date women that have nieces and nephews, but no kids. I can have the pleasure of being around kids, but not all the time. I wouldn't mind having some cool in-laws only. Okay. Appreciate that. Jenny, how you doing, baby? Appreciate you coming through and showing some love. I see you here. Doug, you don't have to lurk, man. You can always come through and just say hi to the good doc, man. I will always respond. Trust me. I respond to everybody who comes through. As long as everybody's on the up and up, we good. My man Daniel says join the 105-pound club. You know, it's almost like mixed martial arts, man. My man MMA fan can agree with this one. It's like mixed martial arts, man. Your girl has to fit into a weight class, right? Let's just make let's just make it only one weight class, the 105-pound weight class division. Ain't gonna be no fighting. You know, you're just gonna that's just your weight class. Make it a game. It'll make it fun. It's fun. My man, Anti-Gravity, what's good with your family? Appreciate you coming through, man. It's been a minute. He says, what's good, my brother, from another. Doctor, I appreciate you being here, my G. AKA the COO of the Bootyloo Investment Corporation. You've been aptly given the title of the COO. So Jenny says, it's not a mistake to marry a Filipina or any other races. True love means if you have the same goals in life, achieve it together as a family. I agree with that. We can all do what we do, baby. I appreciate all of y'all coming through. Let me see. My man Channel says, I seen too many Marines and Navy guys go down that road and get effed over. But I've seen Japanese women do the exact same thing. Exactly. I mean, see, the thing is, I specifically said, is it a mistake to marry Filipinas? But again, this particular title can apply to any type of women. Is it a mistake to marry women outside of your own race or outside of your own country? Not even your race, but outside of your own country. You know, it can also aptly apply to any particular race of women, of course, or any particular women in any country, I should say. Yes, Daniel, snow means white. Well, not white people, but like snow bunnies, like white girls. Like, God dang it. Have you ever seen White Chicks? I love it. That movie's scary, but yeah. Did you say A cups? Ugh. Okay. Oh, we are quite the opposite. Jenny says caring, respect, and thoughtful is the only emotion between the couple, but love was totally different. Love is building a family and working it out together. Well, I should say snow bunnies. Okay, that's where we at. That's what I meant when I was talking about snow, not literally snow, but yes, snow can mean blow too. Andy, thank you for that reference, even though we're not talking about any type of drugs over here, but thank you for that reference. Byron, I don't know where they at. I don't know where they at. Tambok. No, Daniel, I didn't know that. I didn't look for it, but yeah. My man Andy says, in his experience, nope, nothing wrong with dating a Filipina. They are sweet, beautiful, and fun. Usually loyal and make great wives. I want to marry mine now if she'll remain as she physically, if she remain as she is physically and matures with me financially and emotionally. I think all men could actually agree with that, and I think we all want that. But the problem that we go through and the problem that we cannot change is the fact that change is inevitable. Maybe not a physical change, a mental change, a psychological change, but change is almost inevitable, you know, and that's the really crazy thing about the idea of marrying anybody. And I know you guys have heard this before too. I've heard it time and time again. People can date for 10 years, 15 years. The minute that they put their name on a piece of paper and make it official, they'll divorce like a month later. I've seen that shit happen, and I'm like, damn, what is it about, you know, formalizing something that makes people scared as fuck or like really fucks up the relationship? I don't know. My man Daniel says everything is in your favor in the Philippines, but everything is in her favor in the West, aka the cesspool. True. I mean, a lot. Yes, definitely a lot is in her favor for sure. Princess Montana, how you doing, baby? Been a while. Appreciate you coming through. I've seen some of your comments on my latest videos. Thank you for being a part of the team. Thank you for being a part of the family. We love you. And it's always good to have you here. I wish I could have you on one time. I'm telling you, I think the guys love to hear from you. But if you can't make it on, that is A-okay. Eyes on says, my girl likes to spend money, so bringing her here is a forethought for now. You should probably leave that as an afterthought if she like their money. Terry Edwards, that is a great point. What is he feeding her to make her gain that weight, or are you just asking what is she being fed in general? Hey, my man Gerry, Philippines bound. What's going on, brother? Appreciate you coming through. He says Filipinos generally look for strong and confident men. That is true. And Gerry is one of the many men that I am glad he showed up because he is actually married to a Filipina living in the United States currently. So Gerry, if you want to come on, man, I would love to have you on, bro. I think there is nobody more fitting for this particular topic than you. So Gerry, man, if you want to come on, I'll if you all you have to do is say yes. I think I still have your email and all your information in my email, in my address book. So if you want to come on, man, I'll gladly have you on because I think this particular topic is something that you can elaborate on because like I said, you are currently married to a Filipina and currently living in the United States. So maybe you can shed light on the whole idea behind it. And you can also shed light on those that say, never bring them to the United States. It's not a good idea. Maybe you can flip the script a little bit or tell them what it is that you saw in your wife or what happened between you and your wife that allowed you to be confident enough to bring her to the United States. I'm going to read through the rest of this. And if I do catch your comment, please stay on and I'll make sure that I bring you on if you are able to come on. Princess says it's a mistake of Filipino or any woman with from a poor country. If you marry her and her family, that you have to support her parents too. So Princess says it is a mistake marrying a Filipina. Okay, and this is coming from somebody who is kind of Filipina. Yeah, you are Filipina, right? But I think Princess is Filipina. She told me that. I think she's mixed. Princess, you're gonna have to elaborate. I keep forgetting. So Jenny, my baby, appreciate you. I'm glad that you were able to come through, but you know, you gotta go, you gotta go. Thank you. Smooth Wrist says, I've heard it said this way. In the Philippines, you are the prize and the catch, but in the US or rather country, your Filipina will be the exotic beauty, and therefore she will be the prize. Okay. Princess says you haven't met the rest of the Filipinas. Well, there is the good and the bad. Please believe it. Daniel asks, how do you deal with a Filipina who is very good but a bit too conservative? I don't know. One step at a time, I guess. I like a conservative Filipina because I'm telling you, once you get them open, oh my God, it's the greatest thing in the world. I'm telling you. Steve, what's going on, man? He says, if you are worried about your girl leaving you in the United States, you should probably throw in the towel, get the right one, and she'll keep you good. Agreed with that. Any type of doubt, never go ahead and commit yourself to anything. If you have any doubt, just let it go. My man Byron says, you're forgetting if your Filipina has good credit on your way to a bigger come up to the United States. Huh, that's true. I did forget to say that. Thank you, Byron. I appreciate that. My man Tim H is in the building. I see my man Pedro made it too. What's good, family? I'm glad you got the popcorn in the building. I couldn't find my popcorn emoji. I was pissed because I was looking for it. Princess says you have to make it clear those things that you like to happen and don't like to happen before you get married. True. Rob says, I don't think it's a mistake to marry the right Filipina, but I'm just worried about the excessive weight gain. Peanuts do not carry weight well. Agreed. Because they have such a small frame. Like you said, Mo, your average Filipina, pure Filipina, average height is 5'5". That's like about the tallest they'll get, average. But, you know, they don't carry weight very well at all. We love Princess. um, y'all killing me. I gotta make sure. All right, Gerry, I'm gonna get you, bro. Give me a minute. Let me set my shit up. I gotta bring Gerry on, guys. Y'all gotta give me a minute. I gotta turn away from the chat for a second. Gerry, just give me a minute. If I can't find your information, I'm gonna need you. Guys, I'm gonna talk. I'm not actually looking at the chat right now, so y'all gonna have to give me a minute. Let me go ahead and send this link to Mr. Gerry Kudanian himself so that I can have Gerry come on in and talk to you guys for a minute. I've been trying to find people that could come on with me. Unfortunately, I've been doing shows, erratically and stuff, so I haven't been able to like set up like I want to, but I'm definitely going to try to get the one-on-ones back. I really love those. I really enjoy doing the one-on-one, so we're going to try to make sure we bring those back as soon as possible, okay? But with that being said, okay, Gerry, the link has been sent. Yeah, it said it's sent. Okay, let me go ahead and bring all this stuff back up. I got to set up for people who are coming on with me. Gosh, got me doing trick, man. You know I'm too old for this shit. All right. Are we good? Can we be heard? Okay, cool. All right, guys. So, all right, Gerry, you got the link, bro. I'll just wait for you to come on. Doug, Doug, I'll be all right. Yes, I'm about to bring Gerry on for a minute, guys. He's already got the link. My man Steve says back in the Marine Corps days, a lot of troops married from all over the world, but usually that was within 6 months of deployment, and we were only in the port for 3 days. What do you think happened? That girl done put that thing on him, boy. That's what happened. She done put that thing on him. That's all that happened. Muslim Filipinas are definitely more conservative. And I don't know, unless you are a Muslim yourself and you practice that religion, I would never encourage you to go after them because they are very strict on how they do things. That culture is nothing to fuck with. Trust me. Guys, give me a minute. I'm just scrolling through. I think, am I almost at the end? Not even close. All right, you said you met a Filipina that was 5'8". I'm just saying on average, 5'5" is about as tall as you'll get. But yeah, you can find some taller ones too, of course. Okay, Miss Princess Kayana. Let's eat. Don't hate on Jollibee. We love Jollibee over here. Oh no, you like Wendy's? That's a place to make you fat quick. Craziness. In-N-Out Burger. Oh, Byron, I wish I could play some music, bruh, but they gonna give me a copyright strike for that shit, so I can't do it. I wish I could, but I can't. Average Filipinas are 4'11.8, so yeah, about 5 foot. That makes sense. All right, guys. So while we're waiting for Gerry to come on, if he can make it, Gerry, if you didn't get the link, I'll be happy to send it again. But while we're waiting, guys, just wanted to go ahead and give a quick shout out. We got 32 individuals watching. I appreciate all 32 of you coming on and showing some love to the good doctor today. If you want to get your IPA shirts, you already know how to do so. If you guys want to support the channel, you already know how to do so. There's the PayPal and also the super chat. But of course, the good doctor is happy that you come through and spend just a little bit of your time with him today. Nigh on den. Today's topic for those coming in and those leaving is: do you believe it is a mistake to marry a Filipina? Yes or no? And explain to me why. I need to know why. If you believe it is a mistake, I'm definitely going to need to know the reason why. We're going to leave that in the chat. But without further ado, my guest has made it. My man Gerry Kudanian has made it. So I'm going to go ahead and ask the question, and I'm going to give you a chance to explain. You're married to a Filipina. You've been married for a few years now. You brought your Filipina to the United States. So what do you say to the men that have this ideology and thought that, oh, if I bring my girl, she's going to change on me. She's going to gain weight. She's going to do all of this. She's going to leave you. It doesn't matter. It's just not worth it. What do you say to the naysayers for all of those that aren't familiar with your current situation?
Hey, Mike, how you doing? Appreciate you having
I'm
me
doing
on.
well. Not a problem.
You know what? I knew my wife. I got to know my wife quite well before I brought her to the States. Now, I got married about probably a little bit less than a year after I met her. Now, some people might say, well, you only, did you really know her that well? Well, actually, I did, because in that 1 year span, I did. I think it was either four. I was going out there every 3 months to get to know my wife. Okay, then we spent a lot of time on Skype. I mean, literally, we would spend some days. On the average, it was 3 hours a day, but some days it was 5 to 6 hours on the weekends. Now,
Mm-hmm.
I've had the ideal job where a lot of times my boss is not in the office. So, while I'm doing some work, my wife would call me and we'd talk on Skype and stuff like that. Then when I come home, I would get on Skype and talk with her again. So, some people would say, well, Skyping with somebody, do you really get to know them? And you really do. I mean, you see their face. And what was interesting, I wasn't really looking for red flags, when I met my wife, but you got to kind of look for red flags, guys. If for example, every time I'd say to my wife, "Hey, we're gonna talk at such and such a time," boom, she's there. You know what I mean? She's
Mm.
right there. She's ready to talk and all like that. So that was cool. And then every time I would go out to see her, she would really make my trip comfortable. She would
Mm-hmm.
make sure that if there's questions that I had about the country or traveling or this or that, she would answer them. She would take me on public transportation, which a lot of guys are kind of, and this is in Manila too. On top of that, which was,
Right.
a lot of guys are kind of leery of taking public transportation. But again, I didn't have any problems with that. So again, I really got to know my wife, and my wife. Keep in mind, guys, I mean, I'm 61 and my wife's like 50. So she's in that middle age bracket. And then women between like the age of, I would say, 32 to 50, they're keepers. I mean, they're really more, how should I say, they're a lot more serious than maybe the
Yeah.
younger ones. And not to say that the
Yeah.
younger ones are not serious. So that's not what I'm saying. But they tend to be more serious than the younger ones. And keep in mind, I mean, if a woman hits above 32, she's considered over the age there or something like that, in the Philippines, from my understanding.
Right. Old maids. Yeah. Pretty
Yeah,
much.
or old age or whatever. So,
Yeah.
so, I mean, I got to really get to know my wife. My wife is more on the conservative side. So, I mean, it's hard. You're not gonna anybody's not just gonna walk up to my wife and talk to her. It ain't gonna happen that way, man. So I
And
don't
that's
worry about that.
true. You brung up a good point. A lot of people may not take this in consideration, but age is a very, very big thing when it comes to bringing your Filipina to the United States. I think age plays a major part. If she is part of this generation where they're focused on the social media aspect and things like that, if she is influenced by things that she finds online, chances are if she makes the move to a Western world, she will adapt to the culture because she's probably fascinated by it and that's what she wants, as opposed to somebody who is a little bit older. And again, it is about timing and knowing and understanding your relationship too. Let's not, overlook that part. But, I do believe that the age of the woman that you choose to bring back with you does play a major role, in that particular aspect of your girl being there for you and being for the relationship and or allowing other individuals to kind of influence her mind in one way or another. But also, I'm gonna make one more point because I wanted you to answer this one. I remember a while back you did explain to me that your current wife, she didn't have a lot of family. I do remember you saying something like that. And I wanted you to talk about that aspect, not actually that, but we talked about how the
Right.
family and supporting the family and stuff that is also a problem. But explain to us your situation with your wife and
Sure.
everything as far as the family is concerned.
Well, I mean, supporting the family can be a problem. I'm not saying that everyone that supports the family, there will be a problem. It can be a
Hmm.
problem. What was kind of interesting, and again, just like a lot of the guys are going out to the Philippines, I really didn't meet my wife's family until actually. I think it was until the wedding. To be honest with you,
Wow.
I can't remember if I went once before the wedding. I don't think I did. I think I met my wife's family at the wedding, or some of the family members. And then afterwards, we went out there. We had a big party. The following time, I came out there after our marriage. And what was kind of interesting is my wife was raised by, I think, her grandmother and her godmother. And I think a
Hmm.
lot of Filipinos, uh, and it's not an odd thing, you know. I think that I've heard of other mothers having their grandparents take care of the child, and you
Very
know,
true.
sometimes, you know,
Mm.
if it's a one family, if it's a one person, I'm sorry, a one parent family, maybe the mother's got to work, or you know, or maybe the mom's got to go to another part of the Philippines to work and send money home. You know, again, that happens. It's very common. So it was almost like my wife was kind of almost like an orphan. You know what I mean? It was kind of interesting when I saw my wife interact with her mom, and they weren't that close.
Right.
So, and I kind of knew that from talking to my wife, because I was kind of feeling her out, talking about saying what her deal was with her family, because she didn't talk too much about her family, even though she is fair. You know, she's got a fairly large size family. They're not
Mm.
really, she's not really close with a lot of them, because again, she works in Manila, and most of them are in the Leyte, Ormoc City region. Okay. So
Right.
city. So she's, you know, she kind of left. She's been in Manila for about 10 years now, Dr. Mike. So she's kind of been on her own, and she's periodically sends money home to her mom, help her out, you know, from time to time. So we talked about the family, and I've heard of, you know, by looking at other vloggers, they always talk about, yeah, you know, you got to help out the family and blah blah blah. And I think at the time I might have been following Rike from Life Beyond the Sea, and you don't mind if I mention the name, or should I not mention any names here, or is it cool, or
I
are
mean,
you good? Okay,
like I
okay.
said,
Yeah,
yeah,
I mentioned
Enrique's
a
cool.
couple of
Good.
vlogs. Yeah, I meant, yeah, I was following Rike, and I think I was following Ned. I might have been following, I think, Philly in the Philippines. I think he just got there, but you know, I didn't really follow too many guys, and you know, from what these guys were saying, you may have to, you know, help out the family. So what I decided to do is, you know, I was talking to my wife, and she wasn't close to her family, and we decided. I mean, we talked about this before we got married, that if the family asked for money, what we decided to do is we want to give when we want to give and how much we want to give. That's up to us. So we didn't want to make like a regular monthly stipend to her mom or anything like that. It's just, you know,
Correct.
we don't want to get anybody used to us giving money. So again, we decided to give when we want to give, and then how much we want to give. That's how we decided to go. And it works out really well. As a matter of fact, I don't know, somebody was trying to, I think one of her, what was it? Somebody was asking me for money one time or something after we met. And my wife literally came out and said, "Hey, you're not my husband's budget," plain and simple, you know? So that was a good sign right there. I'm like,
Yeah,
whoa, you know, that
that's a
was
keeper.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was definitely a good sign, and it's to this day it holds true. You know, we just send when we want, and when we can, and also we also do help out a couple of other people that are non-family members that kind of help raise her. So you know, again, it's up to us, you know, how we want to do this, and it works out really well. You know, family respects me, I respect them, and what we probably will do when we go out, finally move out to the Philippines, we'll probably help like her brother's kids, maybe help them through college or something like that. We'll set something up like a college fund and help the younger generation out that way. And you know, just
Okay.
help out that way. So again, this is what we want to do, and we'll do it that way. So we're not forced to do anything. It's just basically everything's voluntary. We send Balik Bayan boxes from time to time, and they love it. And they don't really ask us for anything. And a lot of them are OFWs in her family. They're
Hmm.
doing well, so they don't really ask for any money in general. You know.
That's good. I mean, like I said, there's a lot to take into consideration for those that are, choosing to, bring their, Filipinas to the United States. One of the things that we've talked about, like you just previously discussed, send money. So I read there's a princess in the chat. She says that, her brother's wife sends $400 a month.
Wow.
Now, let me break that down because it's very difficult, and I know this from experiences of dealing with other people with relatives in the Philippines that are working in the United States. It's almost difficult for them to say no. It can be very, very hard depending on the person that they're sending money to and how much they send. Now, we already know that that money is probably gonna go towards something that is useless. But I do believe that if you make enough money, like I believe that registered nurses in the United States make very good money. So $400 a month isn't enough to hurt their pockets. You understand? But you do have to set a guideline. But I do believe that it does become very, very stressful to send money on a monthly basis, because then, like we talked about before, it becomes an expectation. And then, like I said, something happens. Oh, now we need money for this. Can you send a little bit more this time around? So it might start out at 400. Before you know it could be 1,000. Before you
Yeah,
know it could be 1,500. So there's it's very hard to break the cycle once you start.
yeah, you got to kind of. Yeah, you don't want to set any kind of patterns, definitely don't do anything on a monthly basis. You know what's kind of interesting? We've met a lot of Filipinos here because we go to a supermarket called, and it's a restaurant style supermarket. It's huge, called Seafood City. I don't know if you're
Hmm.
familiar with that. I did a video on that. I mean, this thing is huge. It's all Filipinos that goes there. So, hey guys, if you're in the U.S., you want to meet a Filipina, but maybe don't want to go all the way to the Philippines, if you got a Seafood City in your area, just go hang out there. So yeah. But what's interesting is we meet a lot of people. We'll sit there, and because when you buy, we go there for lunch a lot of times on the weekends, and we'll sit there,
Hmm.
and it's close quarters. These tables, these aren't like separate tables. You got long tables, so you got all kinds of people sitting next to you, and you meet a lot of older Filipinas that are stuck in the U.S. And my wife will be talking to her, we'll be talking, and I'll ask her, I go, what do you mean you're not going back to the Philippines? She goes, I have no money to retire in the Philippines. And I go, well, how long you been here? She goes, as an example, they're generally in the States for 20 to 30 years. And I go to them,
Yeah.
I go, well, have you not saved any money in all these years? And they may not be all registered nurses. Maybe some of them are caregivers or whatever. And they
Right.
go, you know what? We sent money back, but the family blows it all. The family didn't put money aside for them to come back and retire in the Philippines. See what I mean? So they got no money to go back home. They're stuck in the US. And it's kind of
And
sad.
it is. I mean, but then again, let's talk about it from the flip side. I've met plenty of Filipinas who do not want to go back to the Philippines as well. They absolutely I don't want to say despise, because that sounds very rude and very negative. It's not like they don't want to go back, but it's like there's nothing there for them. You understand? They feel like
Right.
there's nothing there for them. Right. I go back with my savings. Okay, what am I going to put my money into in the Philippines? What am I going to invest my money into in the Philippines? There's nothing that's going to earn them money like they would make in the United States there. So, on the flip side, there are some that never want to leave the United States, mainly because they can't, but sometimes because they don't want to. And I do believe that constitutes your westernized type of Filipinas,
Well,
but
yeah,
they're everywhere.
yeah,
Go ahead.
that's true. Some of them also, they'll bring their whole families to the U.S., so they really have nothing to go
Yeah.
back to. You know what I mean? So they're kind of, they don't want to be by themselves, so they don't go back to the Philippines because basically their whole family is now in the U.S. So that happens as well. But going back to that question you had about guys being scared to bring their Filipino wives to the U.S.,
Right.
I wouldn't be scared if I was you guys, but you have to keep certain things in mind. When I brought my wife here to the U.S., one of the things I wanted to make sure is that she's able to get around transportation wise. Because, hey, one of the problems that some of these guys run into, and we've met couples and stuff like that, and the wife is at home. She might be living in a small town. She can't get around. She's got no driver's license. There are no buses, no transportation, and they get bored. So I would suggest look at where you're living at. Look at the transportation in your area. Because my wife does not have a driver's license. She didn't want to drive. So that was
Hmm.
cool because, I mean, I live in Chicago. I mean, she was here, not even here a couple of days. She was jumping on the subway train here, a couple of blocks away. I mean, the Cubs won a World Series. Next thing I know, my wife's down there at the World Series party down in Grant Park, stuff like that. So again, being mobile is pretty important. Again, for my wife is very important. So that really worked out really well. Able to find work relatively easy is another thing you guys should look at when you bring your Filipino wife or girlfriend to the U.S. My wife's in the healthcare industry, so she's able to find work. Now, it doesn't pay a lot the type of work she does, but keep in mind, minimum wage here is $12 an hour right now, and it's going up to 13. And again, for us, I just have my wife working part time, Mike. We're looking to
Hmm.
focus on our marriage. We're not really, I didn't. If you're gonna bring your Filipino wife to the U.S. to help you pay the bills, guys, it ain't gonna work, man. That's when she becomes Americanized. I guarantee you. So again, if you bring in your wife to the U.S. and for example, my wife still washes clothes by hand. Let her be a Filipina here in the U.S. Then you got less of a chance of her becoming Americanized. And she may or may not become Americanized. It just depends how old she is when she comes to the U.S. That makes a big difference.
Yeah, I can agree. Age is definitely nothing but a number, but it does mean something when it comes to, dealing with the, ideas of bringing your Filipina to the United States. Again, everybody's going to have their, ideas about, whether it's a good idea, whether it's a bad idea. Again, if you feel like it's something that you're not willing to risk, just don't do it. I mean, that's perfectly fine. If you are comfortable creating a life for yourself and creating wealth for yourself in the Philippines where your young lady is, by all means, that's where you should stay. I mean, I think that many of us, if we could, we just retire in the Philippines and stay where we are with our young ladies, as opposed to bringing them back to the United States. But then again, you have those that are still relatively younger, and they're not at the age of retirement, such as myself, and you want to be able to create your own wealth, with you and your spouse. So there are different aspects that to take into consideration, and like we said before, age is definitely one of them. So I'm trying to think. There was something I wanted to ask Jerry, but if you have anything else you want to talk about, go ahead. I'll try to remember what I was going to say. I'll let you say what you need to say if you got anything
Oh,
you want to add.
no, I mean, I just basically tell guys, just have a plan. Why is your wife coming to the U.S.? How long are you guys going to stay in the U.S.? Are you guys going back to the Philippines, or are you going to stay in the U.S. for a while? Just kind of have a plan, But again, keep in mind, if you're not confident of yourself, if you're not a confident person, and you have any kind of inkling that maybe you know if you're the jealous type or something like that, or you think you're gonna your Filipina is gonna be talking to some other guys or whatever, then don't bring her. I mean, that's the best thing I can tell you. you
Okay,
know
I remember what I wanted. I remembered what I was going to say. You mentioned the area in which you are living in, and I do believe that that is absolutely an important aspect of where you choose to bring your Filipina. Now, you live in Chicago, so there probably is a base of Filipinas there, and then for anybody living in California, Filipinos are all over California. You might find them in Texas. You might find them in all of the major areas. But if you are living in like a small town place like me, small town North Carolina, that's where I'm from. It is very easy, unless your woman is doing something to keep herself occupied, it is very easy for her to get bored. When she gets bored, I'm telling you, that could be dangerous for many, many reasons. When she gets bored, she's going to want to interact with people that are like herself. And if she can't find people to interact that are like herself, AKA other Filipino people, she's going to interact with those that are close to you, maybe neighbors or whatever. And maybe those people don't have the best influence on her. So, I mean, you're lucky because your wife was able to get work. But let's say, for example, you bring your girlfriend or your wife over or fiance over on the K1 visa. Let's say she can't work yet. Maybe she has to wait for her green card. What do you think would make it easier to transition between, her time having, I mean, what would make the transition easier for her during that particular downtime? Because she can't work, she can't really do anything. So basically, you are her lifeline. You understand? You are the only one for her. What do you think a person should do to make that transition easy for the Filipino moving to the United States?
well, you definitely gotta. I think a lot of the Filipinos, I mean, as we all know, Filipinos like to eat, right?
True.
So definitely, some of them will are kind of picky eaters. They may only want to eat Filipino food. So you're definitely going to have to find stores. May not be necessarily Filipino stores or Asian stores that have the type of food that she may need to cook with or stuff like that. So you're gonna have to find food. She may not like American food, or it might take her a while to get used to American food. I don't know. So that's one thing. Getting her to meet some friends, yeah, that's going to be another problem. But here's one thing. you got to kind of be careful because if she find again in the Filipino community, you can find the wrong kind of friends also. The older Filipinas tend to manipulate the younger Filipinas. So if
Mm-hmm.
she, starts hanging out with older Filipinas that may have been divorced and just still,
That's a
are
bad.
single, yeah, that's not good. There's been a couple that tried to not, I don't know about influence my wife, but they would kind of made some comments when we were in a setting, like a party setting, and my wife just kind of
Hmm.
basically laughed them off and told me, yeah, this woman was trying to say this woman was trying to say that. So she kind of, my wife kind of knows the bullshit that these Filipinos are going to do, but maybe your younger Filipina that may be in her 20s may not be aware of these things to look out for. So that's another problem you may run into. Now, if you bring your Filipina in on a fiance visa, well, you've got 90 days to get married.
Correct.
That's one thing. So she won't be able to work while she's just came in, but she may get some work under the table. You can always do that. But then after that, I think what happens after 90 days, once you get married, there may be a little bit of time where she gets a certain kind of, you're applying for a visa for her to stay there. But I think so many days, I don't know if it's a month or two after that, she's going to get some paperwork that says she's able to travel and also work. So she may not need to get her green card, and she'll be able to work before she gets her green card because she came in on a fiance visa, as if you brought her in on a spousal visa. If you guys get married overseas and you bring her in
Hmm.
on a spousal visa, the minute she touches ground here, she's able to work right away. So because the green card is right there, she'll get it within. I think we might even got it a few days before she even got here, but it was here. And I think I remember the Social Security card wasn't yet produced. So we had to go back down after a couple of weeks. We went down to Social Security office, and within 10 days, we were ready to go. So within the first month, my wife was ready to go. And as a matter of fact, where I lived, she got a job right across the street at a retirement home right off the bat. So again, living in a larger city, there are more job opportunities for Filipinos.
Hmm.
Living in smaller towns, they may not be more job opportunities for Filipinos. So again, I think it makes a big difference where you live. That's going to be a biggie. That's going to be very important.
Yeah, it does. It does open the door for the opportunities. That's, I guess it does. Like you say, you living in a larger city, there are more opportunities for Filipinos to find work. So, I mean, there is a lot to take into consideration should you decide to bring your woman to the United States. Again, if you have that hesitation that things could possibly go wrong, we will encourage you not to go forward with it. Any type of doubt is not good for you and it's not healthy, and you trying to overcome that doubt by forcing yourself to get married and forcing yourself to allow this to happen is not going to end up being a good look for you down the line, because when you get her there, you're just going to be bitter and mad because you married her and you really didn't want to, but you wanted to prove people wrong. Don't let anybody force you into get married. I've heard of guys that kind of felt pressured, whether it be because you either got that girl pregnant or somebody is telling you, well, you've been with her for this long. I mean, so you might as well make the move. So, I do like to say things like that. Don't let people force you into, getting into relationships and getting married,
Oh,
stuff like that.
totally agreed. And one thing I want to mention, guys, that's on my mind right now, is when you bring your spouse to the United States, whether it's on a fiance visa or it's on a spousal visa, you're going to have to sign an affidavit of support, and
Mm-hmm.
you're on the hook for 10 years. So let me
Mm.
explain how that works. Basically, it's going to be an I-864 affidavit of support, and that you're basically making an agreement with the federal government that you're going to support your fiance or spouse or wife for the next 10 years. So
Mm-hmm.
even if you get divorced and she goes out on her own, you are still liable for her. So if she goes and files some kind of welfare or anything like that, they can come after you and sue you for the money. So keep that in mind. So I would suggest, that's something you want to think about. So, say you bring her here and 2, 3 years later you get divorced, and it happens, and say you go and get married with somebody else. Well, they can be knocking on your door she gets, your ex-wife got in a car accident, she's getting sued because she didn't have insurance. You might have to, and you most likely will have to pony some money out of your pocket for her
Mm,
mistakes. So you might want to keep that in mind. Now, in order to get around that rule, I would strongly suggest, if you bring her in on a spousal visa, get her
mm.
citizenship as soon as possible, because the minute your wife gets a citizenship, you are no longer on the hook if she divorces you for anything, financially on the hook. No longer. Okay, so keep
That
that.
That's actually good food for thought, man. I mean, I did know about the affidavit of support. I did know about the 10 years, but I did not know that once you get married and she does have her citizenship, you are no longer on the hook.
Yep.
That is something that is really good. I mean, so yeah, citizenship is quick. It's easier. It's not easier to get it, but I mean, like I said, the quicker she get it, the better it is for you.
Well,
That's
yeah.
like the bullet in the chamber.
Well,
But,
yeah. Well, it's funny. Under a spousal visa, your wife can get her citizenship within 3 years.
okay.
Now, if you bring in, say, your brother or your sister or somebody like that, one of your relatives, they have to wait, I think, 5 years or more to get her citizenship. So
Okay.
the fastest way to get her citizenship for somebody is on a spousal visa.
True.
So,
I think on the fiance visa, I think you have to be in for maybe 5 to 8 years. I think before citizenship. Is that about accurate?
uh,
Because I don't know. I really forgot.
No, I think it's still three. But what
It's still
happens
3.
is on the fiance visa, it may take you a little bit longer. Because keep in mind, you don't actually get the green card. You got to get married first, so you just lost 3 months. See, well, on a spousal visa, the minute your wife comes into the country, hits the ground here at the airport, that 3 years
Hmm.
starts. That 3 year clock starts on the day she arrives at the airport. Where on the fiance visa, it takes 3 months. Then she gets married, and then she got to apply for a green card. So I think it takes a little bit longer. It might take an extra year or so. But again, it's I would strongly recommend, because so that you let them get their citizenship, because it's funny, I get these emails all the time, on my visa videos. And I just had a guy,
Hmm.
man, his wife came, he was saying, man, she's just using me for the green card. She brought all her family over. Now she wants to divorce me. She doesn't love me anymore. He goes, I'm thinking about, I don't know, he was talking about doing some kind of I-751. It's like a what he was talking about is in her benefit. I go, no, 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 don't do that. I says, look, divorce her, because before she applies for the 10-year green card. That's what I
True.
recommend him to do. And then she's going to have a harder time, because when you apply she went from a 2-year green card to a 10-year green card, she needs
Hmm.
his signature for her to get the 10-year green card. So I told her,
Hmm.
divorce her right away and just don't sign it. Don't sign that 10-year application. Just don't do it. It's gonna be harder for her to do it, to get that 10-year green card. So
Yeah, because normally what they choose to do, the bad ones, again, let's make this abundantly clear. This does not apply to all, but normally what they do is when they're there and they're at risk of, being, sent home, they'll just latch on to the new guy because there's probably going to be a new guy 9 times out of 10 after the divorce or even before the divorce, and that person will be willing to, marry her and stuff and cover the paperwork. You just got to be careful with stuff like that.
right, and again, some guys will say, well, some guys are kind of control. They could be control freaks over their girlfriends or wives or whatever. And I've seen that happen. And the wife's gonna leave him anyway. So I don't know. I didn't see any issues like that with my wife. She's got her own bank account. She makes her own
Hmm.
money. She could leave me right now and just move out and get her own apartment if she wanted to. She's got enough money to do it. So more than enough. So
Yeah.
again, I just don't see that problem. But again, I got to know my wife, and I've got no issue now. Anything can happen. Nothing's 100% bulletproof, obviously. But
True.
again, like, if you guys aren't comfortable bringing them here, man, then don't do it. That's what I just
I
tell.
mean, it's truly important. I do believe it's very, very important that your woman make her own money. I do like the idea of her being able to make her own money, having her own money. Now, I do believe as the man, you should be monitoring that. I mean, that's just my personal opinion. I mean, the rules are different in every relationship, but I do, think you should monitor and see what she sends home and stuff like that because I mean, hey, she does have to contribute to, what's going on with you guys, because you guys are still a team. But it is important, in my opinion, that she bring in her own money so that she knows what it's like to make a dollar. How hard it is to make her own money as
Oh
opposed to
yeah,
spending your own. So that's
yeah.
just life lessons for sure.
Oh yeah, I mean, when your wife gets here or your fiance gets here, they're going to see how things are expensive. I think a lot of the, foreigners when they think about the U.S. is how much money you can make, but they don't really look at the expenses here, And when my wife came here, she goes, "Damn, everything's expensive around here." I go, "Yeah," and she kind of, I mean, I think she already had that idea, so it wasn't
Right.
like she didn't come with the attitude of money grows on trees here. But my wife's not really into the money. That's what's kind of cool about my wife. She was a missionary in the Philippines, so it wasn't even about the money. So she doesn't
True.
even care. I had to drag her over here. She didn't even really want to come here. But it was either you wait for another 4 years till I retire and I can come back and forth, or you come here. So she decided to come here. That's how it worked out and stuff. So, but what's funny? Sending money back to the family, and when she does that, she'll always ask me, even though it's her account. I mean, we've got both of our names on the account, and you got to kind of do that, guys. If you bring your spouse here, whether it's on a spousal or a fiance visa, you're eventually going to have to show documentation that it's a true marriage. So you're going to have your wife on certain financial accounts. Or
Mm.
else it's not going to look like a real marriage, and they're not going to give you these visas, or they're not going to extend the visas. So even though I got my wife here on a 2-year visa, and it's a conditional visa, we're applying for a 10-year visa right now. If it doesn't look legit, they're not going to renew her visa, man. So it's not like she's in automatically. So you're gonna have to put on certain financial documents. You're gonna have to put on leases. Maybe get some bills in her name. So you gotta have to make it, like it's a real marriage. So, and some of these guys might be afraid to put their wives on certain financial documents. Like savings accounts or checking accounts and stuff like that. They might. So if you're afraid, then don't do it. Don't bring him here.
Yeah, there's a lot to take into consideration. I see a lot of people coming in fed up. I see you guys. Thank you guys for coming here. I think that we've touched on everything that I felt we needed to touch on in this particular topic. Gerry, it's a pleasure to have you on, man. I do enjoy your perspective simply because you are living the life that some people are saying is not a good idea, and some people are saying go on and go for it. So I do appreciate your perspective on this particular topic. I'm going to go ahead and give you, a chance to talk about your final thoughts, and then after that, we'll go ahead and close out the show.
Cool. Yeah. Look, just I hear a lot of people say that don't bring your wives to the U.S., and I hear others say that bring them to the U.S. It's up to you, man. It's up to you to make that decision, and hopefully you'll make the right decision. But just get to know your wife before you make that decision to make sure you know her quite well. Not all, Filipinos divorce guys, and a lot of times when a Filipino comes to the U.S. And gets divorced, it doesn't mean it's her fault. It could have been the guy's fault for all we know, and most likely a lot of times it was. So just go ahead and do it, man. If you're comfortable with it, do it. And I don't know. I don't get scared about shit like that. If, things go wrong, then just deal with it. That's just the way I look at it. You're not going to lose all your money. You can protect yourself. There's all different ways of protecting yourself and your assets. It's not an issue. Just talk to a lawyer if you have to. But other than that, just do it, man. Don't be afraid, guys. All right.
All right. It's been a great show, guys. I normally go through and shout out everybody who came through, but unfortunately, I can't scroll all the way back. But you guys know who you are. I've tried to shout you out when I seen you come in the chat. So I appreciate all of you guys coming through and showing some love to the good doctor. And of course, his guest tonight, none other than Philippines bound Gerry Cadanian. Gerry, pleasure having you on the show, man. And with that being said, guys, I'm going to go and close it out like I normally do. I appreciate you guys being here. I'm glad that you guys enjoyed the show. I'm definitely going to try to do more shows with more guests. Just give me time. Normally I got to try to schedule it out in advance. Sometimes they're busy, or sometimes I just come on spontaneously. So we're going to definitely make sure we keep the shows coming. We're going to have so much fun doing this. And I appreciate you guys being a part of the audience. Appreciate you guys being a part of the family, because once you are family for life. And with that being said, the good doctor is officially out. Shout out to my man Steve, man. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate that one. I see you coming through clutch right at the end. All right. So with that being said, the good doctor is officially out. At least nako. Alam, which means we are going now. Bye bye. As always, love you guys. Mahal kita. Mabuhay.
Later,
Peace.
Mike.
Later.